Hello and welcome to my podcast on radical self-love, an Ayurvedic perspective on healing body and mind. My name is Sandra Hayes and I'm a Vedic practitioner, meaning I utilize Ayurveda, yoga and Vedic astrology as well as transformational creativity to help you become a conscious creator of your own life, health and well-being. For more information and for access to my online learning platform, The Little School of Happiness, please go to www.sandrahayes.eu. All right, so this episode is a really, really special one. I'm really excited about that actually because I have somebody really special here with me, and that's Dr. Rajvinder Kaur. Hi, Rajvinder. It's really
Hello,
nice.
Sandra.
Really nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. I know Dr. Rajvinder from years ago, and she's an Ayurvedic doctor in Ireland, in Dublin. And she was treating me and giving me absolutely amazing massages and Shirodhara treatments. And she was really, really supportive as well when I started my Ayurveda training. So I'm really, really grateful for that. She also wrote the foreword for the Ayurveda book for me, which is great. So I'm really excited to have you here today. I'd like to ask you a few questions because you have trained and studied in India.
Yes.
And the training there is, of course, very different to the training we can get here.
Yeah.
Can you, first of all, tell us a little bit about that training? What's the difference?
Okay, thank you, Sandra, for having me on this episode. So lovely to see you after a while. So training in India is once you finish your living cert, then you go for some entrance exam, and then based on your grades, like here as well, to go to a college, you need certain grades. So you're going to Ayurveda college. And then the training is intense 4-year kind of theoretical training, and then 1-year practical training where you're spending 6 months in the Western medicine and then 6 months in the Ayurveda hospital. During your 4-year theoretical, you have the colleges attached with the Ayurveda hospital, so you're seeing the patients already. And then your modules that you're studying, with the Ayurveda modules, you also study the pharmaceutical, medicine, anatomy, physiology, so some of the medicine modules as well. And you are doing dissection, which is seeing the human body, internal organs and everything like that. Mm-hmm. In the West now, training is maybe 2 years maximum, and there's a lot of modern perspective is missing, and practical part is very, I think, important to become a Vaidya, which is a term for Ayurveda doctor. In India, you call Ayurveda practitioner a doctor because you're trained in the both streams, you're trained with the both systems. That's why you get the title doctor. And when you actually see the patients in front of you, in India, we probably see 40 to 50 patients in one day in the Ayurveda OPD, which I think in the Western training might be missing. But some of the college do attach that with their training. They have internship connected with the college back in India, which fulfill that requirement. So because in India, it's a 5.5-year degree program. It's more in depth and it's more in detail, and you have a kind of a big practical exposure. I think that's the big difference.
It's a real medical system that treats disease, that treats everything. Can I ask you, what would be a typical thing that people went to an Ayurvedic doctor for to be treated?
Okay. In Ireland, I'm practicing now from last 14, 15 years, and majority of people come with the digestive health issues. I think that's down to the diet. Diet is a big part, the way we treat in Ayurveda. So like IBS is very common. Every second or third person would have some digestive issue, like a general issue like constipation. Even to understand what constipation is, that's a kind of a big thing to explain, to make the person aware about their gut health and all. So gut health is a big one that people come. And then chronic health conditions are very common in Ayurvedic medicine, because Ayurveda is a very good model to treat chronic issues. So people come with the lifestyle issues like diabetes and cholesterols and like even migraines and headaches, anxiety. So this type of patient I see, and a lot of women issues because I have done 1 year work in the women hospital in India as well. So I kind of treat a lot of ladies around their menstrual health, around their menopause as well. So yeah, so I rather treat
That's
those
very, very
conditions.
interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting because it's interesting you say that there's a particular women's hospital as well in India.
Yeah.
Because here there's a real problem still with medical research on women's disease, even because the whole medical system is
Yes.
really based on a male body. And the female body is only recently really coming slowly behind. So there are so many things, especially around menstruation or menopause, that are just simply not really recognized in the
Yes.
Western system. And that's interesting that you say that about Ayurveda, that can be helped, through
Yeah.
Ayurveda. That's really good. So do you have a lot of women and menopausal issues coming then to your practice? To your practice?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, even young girls, not only women in the menopausal age. Nowadays, it's just whatever the reason is. Is it our diet or is it our environment or our kids are more stressed? The young girls having more issues like painful menstruation or even amenorrhea, where periods are coming late puberty is there as well, and that could be stress of a teenage life or puberty, school, and all that. And sometimes girls are very sporty, so the nourishment issue is a big one as well. And then the menopausal, yes, women are very concerned for their bone health. Osteoporosis is kind of on the rise, as well as nowadays. And then we may not be doing enough exercises to keep our bone healthy. So it's not only, it's educational. Ayurveda is a very prevention and educational model. So when a person come, you really need to look into all the different areas of his or her life, and then make them aware about little changes that you can do live a better life and have a better health. So
Yeah.
yes, a lot of menopausal women come with like hot flushes, a very common one when you get to the menopause age, as you know. Insomnia is a very common one. When Ayurveda herbs, I have very good results. You can easily help with women with hair loss around menopause and hot flushes to improve the quality of their sleep, to improve their mood. Yes, yeah. So sometimes it's way more than a label to treat a person.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And yeah, it's good to say about the education as well, because I think that's one thing that really stands out for me about Ayurveda, and why I'm really taken with Ayurveda as well, is that it recognizes that we really are self-healing organisms, and we just have to really activate that self-healing mechanism. And we can do that by just adjusting certain lifestyles and diets to just create the basis for the body to work properly, for every cell to work properly. And that can only, happen really with education. Once we are aware of, what actually is happening, and we create a really good relationship to our own body, then things start to fall into place. And then the herbs you give on top, they probably help a lot with that. But it's probably, it's more for the symptoms.
Yes, yeah. Herbs are Ayurveda is, as I'm saying, educational model. I hope our audience is familiar with the Ayurvedic basic Ayurvedic principles, which is your unique body type. So Ayurveda see you as an individual, which you are very different from your family members, your friends. So there is a body type model that goes. We are part of this universe in the microform. So everything that we eat, we inhale, we smell, we see, through our emotions, everything nourishes us. So everything is part of this body. So then that is through diet and lifestyle. And then herbs also come when there are certain problems. For example, a person is not able to digest food very well, and then you need a little bit medicinal properties of these herbs. Even simple spices like cumin or fennel or coriander, they can treat a lot of things when person know how to use them, even by making a tea or by using them in the cooking. So, and then there are more herbs which is a little bit more medicinal values. For example, shatavari as a woman tonic, it's do a lot of wonderful jobs to balance the hormones around the menopause age and everything. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Can you tell us a little bit more about the herbs and the quality of the herbs that you can get here?
Okay. Because Ayurveda originated 5000 BC, so it's an old system which is still in practice and still working in India. As I said, I have trained with hospitals, so they already have merged the Western and Ayurveda hospitals together, which make it easier to work for people who are training in Ayurveda, and they also have exposure to the modern medicine. So the herbs, there is a kind of a lot of people ask me, especially the Western people, oh, the quality of herbs, metal contaminations or pesticides and things like that. In Europe, when we work, we can't work with the herbs that has metal preparations in them. And in Ayurveda, when we work with the metals back home in India, it's kind of fully kind of controlled, and it should be under strict supervision of your doctor, your Ayurveda practitioner, how you use those metal preparation. Those metal preparations are like steroids of Ayurveda. But anyway, in the West, we are not, there's a legislation, we can't use them here, it's just not allowed. So the herbs that we're using, most of them are organic, so they're chemical free, they're pesticides free. And then the website that's selling the herbs, they should have a quality control certificate as well. So I would say when you're buying the herbs, you make sure the herb is organic and herb is coming from a good source. And if it's possible, if there's a quality control certificate or something like that that you can ask the supplier for, then herbs are not really a problem. Most of the herbs, as I said, they're the roots kind of grounded into a powder, or it could be kind of the flowers, or it could kind of seeds that are grounded into different things. So that's what Ayurveda herbs has. And sometimes it's just the extraction, which is a little bit stronger form of, let's say, curcumin. When we talk about turmeric, when we eat turmeric in the food and we take turmeric as a capsule, the difference is it is the extraction in the capsule, which make it maybe 10 times more stronger than using it as a spice. So when you want to use turmeric as a medicinal property, as an anti-inflammatory, then you use it in the extract form, then you use it as a curcumin in the capsule. But if you want on daily basis turmeric as an antioxidant, then you use just it as a spice. So that's where Ayurveda practitioner can guide you in what way you need to use, rather than self-medicate or things like that.
That's great.
So yeah.
And yeah, it's great also that in Ayurveda, it's there's a lot of use of spices at home, even just for prevention and for a little bit of helping the digestive system that everybody can do on their own at home. Is it easy for everybody to get the ingredients? I know you said Ayurveda originated 5,000 years or 5,000 BC in India, and it developed through the Indian culture. So of course it has a lot of Indian traditional ingredients. But if you are recommending a diet to somebody living in Ireland, for example, how easy is that? Or do you have any advice for that?
Yeah, it's actually evolving. In the last 14, 15 years, I have seen more products on the shelves in the health store and the supermarket. When I came to Ireland, there was no cumin in Tesco, but if you go now, you find the cumin, you find the turmeric, and even lentils or grains like quinoa, red lentils, they are available in the supermarket. And some of the ingredients your organic market or your local health store would have. When we talk about the lentils and pulses and beans, I don't think there's a big problem, but Asian stores are everywhere nowadays as well. So I don't have any problem now sourcing any of my food because Ayurveda is mainly a vegetarian model, but it's not like you don't need to change your diet too much, depends what you're eating. But for the vegetarian model, if you have good amount of vegetables and some carbs, like whatever grains are native to your country and they're available, just use them. And then for the beans and pulses, like beans and pulses are part of a Mediterranean diet anyway, so they are not all Indian. So you can use what Mediterranean beans and pulses, legumes are available in your region. And then when it comes to the spices, like simple fresh spice like ginger, ginger has a lot to offer. Ginger is a universal herb. If you're just using ginger, and then turmeric is also available every day, I think. And so just work with ginger and turmeric and good quality unrefined rock salt or Himalayan salt. If you use salt in your cooking and a good cooking oil, you can produce a very nice Ayurvedic meal. If you don't have all the ingredients, don't worry about it. Ayurveda is about eating fresh, eating locally, and eating what's in the season. Even if you follow these simple guidelines, you still benefit from it.
Yeah. And can you talk a little bit more about the vegetarian aspect of Ayurveda? Because there is a little bit, sometimes I come across a little bit of a contradiction. For one, yes, it is recommended to have vegetarian diet. On the other side, it is also recommended to eat according to the climate where you live. And the northern climates always evolved eating meat. It's kind of, I think, the natural kind of genetic pitta type that just has more, needs more protein, has evolved to digest more meat and protein just simply because there wasn't so much else available because of the climate. So what do you recommend in that?
Okay. Yeah, when person come for consultation and if they are already eating meat, I don't say immediately that to them stop eating meat. I need to see where they are going wrong. They might be eating red meat, and we all know the red meat is inflammatory. So I ask them to slowly decrease the amount of red meat which is inflammatory, and maybe increase more fiber. Maybe you increase your vegetable in uptake a little bit more, because typical in Ireland, typical Irish diet used to be potatoes and maybe a little bit of carrots and then your bread and then kind of meat. So now we all know how much benefit we get when we have more vegetable, when we have more protein, plant-based protein as well in our diet. So Ayurveda is like a variety. You keep your meat, but just try to have organic and free range, good quality of meat, more of a white meat. And then on the side, you also maybe once or twice a week, you have plant protein where you have beans and legumes, and like simple quinoa is everywhere available, and quinoa is full of protein. It's just we don't know in the West, because it's not part of the culture, how to cook and to make the meals more tasty. So it's probably easy to kind of grill the meat, and it's easy to prepare, and at least its meal is there for the family. And the time is another issue, because meal preparation take a little bit of time. So I think it's a slowly kind of awareness and learning simple recipes, how to make your meal tasty, and then gradually adapting to, like, if we want to go 50% meat and 50% kind of protein from your plant base, that's still acceptable. That's okay. And coming to the northern climate, yes, living in Ireland, you can have 4 seasons in one day. So it's just like, because Ayurveda is a very season-based model that you should eat with the season. If it's summer, you eat cooling foods like which are cooling to your body, and then you also have the vegetable given to you. For example, fennel bulb comes in the season, pak choi comes in the season, which automatically is very cooling for the liver. Yeah. So we want cooling food. But when you're living in a climate which you don't have summer as summer, so you have to kind of reflect on the day, what's happening in the day. Like, it's raining today, it's very damp, and it's very kind of sluggish, cold day. So we kind of dress ourselves accordingly. So same, we have to kind of eat accordingly as well. So we start using maybe warm food, we eat more kind of cooked meal, and we drink a little warm water. The problem which go wrong in this climate is people can overuse salads. So when the climate is already cold and your body type is also, which is vulnerable to cold, like if you are an air body type, let's say, and you're eating too much of salad, you're increasing that cold element to your body, and slowly you're inviting constipation, and which is you're inviting further maybe insomnia or arthritis. This is how Ayurveda is looking at the imbalances. So it's just like a little tweak. The weather is cold and I just gonna eat maybe warm soup or warm stew for today. And if it weather is really warm, like 40-degree in India, you don't want a warm curry. Then you just want maybe a cooling drink, which is lassi, which is kind of a buttermilk preparation where the butter is taken out, and whatever the liquid part is left, which is not too increasing the mucus in the body, not increasing the weight, but as a kind of a side benefit, it's very cooling for your tissues, for your livers. So this is how we look into the food. So the food has properties. Food is not dead. Food is energy. So this energy is feeding you, and that's who you are. And Ayurveda is based on this saying, we are what we eat. We all know from our wonderful Hippocrates medical founders saying, but Ayurveda go a little bit further. Ayurveda say, we are what we digest. So you're also looking not only to the food, you're also looking to your digestive health, how you're processing that food, how do you feel after that, and that's where your relationship with foods gets better and better and better. And then person is willing to make an effort to cook nice recipes, to go out and look outside the box, what my parents fed me, how can I do a little bit more for my body. So I think it's the motivation, it's the awareness, it's the education.
Yeah, that's great, because that gives people responsibility back and power back, actually, to take responsibility for their
Exactly.
health. And it's the awareness for your own body, but as well the awareness for your environment, and that creates again a connection with the environment. So we're not so isolated. It brings us into awareness that we're not isolated.
Yes.
Away from the environment, we're actually part of everything. So, which is really, really nice to become
Exactly.
aware of in that lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm gonna say a little bit more. As our planet is evolving, we need to evolve with it as well. And for Mother Earth, we just, if we're a little bit more responsible and we just kind of reduce our carbon prints, which is if we eat meat sensibly and we are not creating too much burden, and then we also have more of a kind of crops, like healthy grains and vegetable. Like recently, Indian government is rebringing our ancestral crop, which is millet. And when you look into millet, millet has everything that a human need, all the minerals, microminerals, and calcium and everything, and which could be a new concept for our Western people here. So it's just like learning about it and how can we process the millet, how we can cook the millet, and how can we introduce into our daily basis.
It grows locally, I think, as well, millet. And
the barley is like which grow very much in Ireland, and which is kind of a sister to millet. And it's kind of reduce that carbon print load to the earth, because it doesn't need much water to grow. It doesn't need any fertilizer. It doesn't need any chemicals. So I think that will be the future.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, that sounds great. I love millet actually. It's versatile as well.
9 different variety of millet. We just say millet, but millet is 9 different types. So it's learning.
India, I can imagine. Yeah, yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about your practice as well. When you have somebody coming to you with, chronic disease, maybe arthritis, or with some, menopausal issues, how would you proceed? What's your method, or how would you begin?
Yeah. Okay, as you know, Ayurveda doesn't treat symptoms. Ayurveda treat the whole person as kind of one system. We don't looking into individual system. Everything is connected. Your brain is connected to your gut. So someone come, let's say a woman come in her mid kind of 40s, and she's complaining of maybe her cycle is irregular now, and she's experiencing a little bit hot flushes, and her mood is not so good. She feels a little bit low, which is kind of a typical symptom of perimenopausal person. And then we say, okay, what can you do for me? Then say, you take the whole history. Ayurveda say health is not a lack of absence of physical symptoms. If you don't have any physical symptom, you still can consider yourself healthy. Ayurveda say health is a balance of your physical health, and then your mental, your emotional, and your social, your environment, and your spiritual. So you're looking into all these different aspects of a person's life, and then you ask them questions about, okay, how do you feel physically? So physically, for example, how do you sleep, and what is your bowel movement, how is your hunger, and what kind of food you eat. So you start like this, and then you have enough idea when the person even walking into your practice, by looking at them, you kind of have an idea what this person is going to bring to you, because you are trained to look at their body type. And then each body type is susceptible to certain kind of imbalances, right? And then if a woman is very pitta woman, which is a fire personality, and the fire people are very ambitious and very organized, and kind of want everything into the structure, sometimes like overdone, and they're work alcoholic, and their digestion is like a tiger, but they might be missing their lunch as a main meal and just kind of substituting with a sandwich or a coffee. Then of course this person is going to end up with a lot of anxiety, a lot of bowel issues, and a lot of anger and frustration, irritation issue, which in the modern term we can relate it to adrenal burnout. Okay, so no doubt this woman, if she's going through that adrenal burnout in her 30s and 40s, she's going to present you a lot of hot flushes. Now you have to make her aware. You need to change your lifestyle a little bit. You have to start taking a little bit easier on yourself. You have to start eating your main meal in the middle of the day. And by eating your main meal in the middle of the day, in the scientific point of view, your blood glucose starts stabilizing. When your blood glucose is fluctuating, when you don't eat three proper meal, you eat on the run, you eat kind of not a very nourishing food, your blood glucose fluctuate, which we call insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is a kind of to blame for many hormonal issues. All right. So you're trying to get a picture of that. Was she doing something like that in her 30s when she was kind of reproductive age? How was the pregnancies? How was the childbirth? How much support she had from the social group, from family and friends? How much support she has now? Maybe the woman older to her who's gone through the same menopausal experiences, and then what is her mental health, what is her emotional health, and then is this person environment is clean, like she's breathing fresh air, she's drinking good quality of water, and she's not using too many cleaner or stuff like that. So you are kind of assessing the person through all the different levels, and you ask them a lot of different questions to get a picture of the body type, and then you do tongue examination, then you do pulse examination to kind of clarify what you're thinking is actually relating to the physiology of this person. And then you give the recommendations of diet and lifestyle, and then you talk about the treatment, Shirodhara and Abhyanga. You give the person certain oil, what is suitable for this particular problem according to her age, according to the body type, and according to the issue, to do self-massage at home. And you might be recommending some relaxation therapies as well for this person to do professionally as well. Like Shirodhara is one wonderful treatment which relaxes the whole adrenals, the whole physiology, which is pouring the oil on your third eye, and it's such a soothing and gentle effect on your physiology. So just doing, yeah,
beautiful, yeah.
yeah. And then there are some herbs like remedies in Ayurveda, menopause temperature balance or menopause support, or like shatavari I mentioned, and then teas made from rose petals or some kind of these cooling herbs. And you can recommend all these things to this person, and you kind of make a little bit changes in her diet. And then you kind of ask the person to come back in maybe 4 weeks time and tell us how you're feeling. And you already see, yes, most of the symptoms are settled. The hot flushes take a little bit longer, so that's kind of the intensity go down, and then slowly, and kind of you give the enough tools to cope with it.
So. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. I mean, even for me, when I had clients coming to me, and I'm not an Ayurvedic doctor, but even for me, it was sometimes amazing to see just simply, changing the diet and lifestyle, what kind of changes that creates. It's amazing that the symptoms sometimes literally disappear without anything else. And, it really is amazing to watch that. And for you, can you, have you had some experiences or did you see things disappear, chronic illnesses or disease? Does that happen?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. As I said, one size not fit all. So it is always a different approach. Like you come with your body type, you come with your own kind of habits, and then which I have to kind of make you aware and ask you to make the changes. And then it's up to you. I have given the awareness and responsibility in your hand. It's up to you how much you're going to do when you go home. Either you say, oh, I don't want to do anything, or it's up to you. Yes, I'm going to try, and I'm going to try slowly, and I'm going to take the help of my Ayurveda practitioner whenever I need. And then slowly you become more confident, and you get connected to your body more and more. And your body tells you, your body speaks to you, and you just learn to listen to that. So in relation to successful treating patients, yes, I had a girl, like this is kind of maybe a severe issue. I can say it's easy to treat. Girl came with ulcerative colitis, and colitis is bleeding. And when you go to the toilet, blood come out, and you go to the toilet a lot. She was losing weight. She was gone very skinny. And she tried the medicine as well, but she was aware of the side effects and everything. So she wanted to have something, a kind of a more natural approach. So I looked into her diet. So I had to limit her food in the beginning to only certain food items. Couldn't allow you this, couldn't allow you that. And then she was kind of a perfect picture of a wonderful student, that she took everything, she followed everything religiously. And then I had to give her some herbs as well For example, marshmallow, which are trying to soothe the gut lining, or some of the herbs in Ayurveda we have where we use to soothing the gut lining, that the food can stay in the body and the person can at least don't go to the toilet too many times. And then I think within the 3 months, her bleeding kind of stopped, and then she started to retain the food more and more. And I had to give her some Shirodhara treatments as well because I sensed there was some stress going on in the family on the emotional side. So I had to become more aware how to kind of detach from that while you are in the environment. So give her some yogic practices, breathing exercises, and going in the nature, and then focus on her sleep as well. And then her work was also, she was working in a, I think, factory where she was exposed to paraffin or something like that. So that's a strong chemical. So I had to make her aware, maybe on the longer term, you might need to think to switch your job as well, which she did. So I say within 6 months to 9 months, she was completely normal. And then we started introducing more food. Like she was introducing food slowly anyway. So now she's living a normal life. I don't have to keep her on the herbs. So whenever she's in stress, because stress is a big trigger and it's something which we have to learn to manage, and so whenever she's stressed she might need to take a herb, so she know what she need to do. She doesn't need to see me anymore. So I was very happy with that outcome. But I think more than me, I give the credit to the patient because she took it religiously and she followed everything. And
that was my experience as well, that the outcome is really directly relating to, the willingness of the person to actually, apply all the recommendations. And it doesn't matter how fast or slow. Sometimes it can be very, very slow with small steps. It takes maybe a little bit longer than, but it is the responsibility.
It is, yeah. Because I can give you quickly one more example. I was treating a lady online. She was in the UK, endometriosis, and then like she was a typical skinny person, but it debilitated her life through endometriosis, and she has done the surgeries and everything. And then when she came to me, and I just first asked her diet, and imagine diet was really bad. Ice creams, chocolates, and pizzas, and all that because she wasn't able to cook. And then I had to motivate her, just start simple recipes, start simple things. And she did. And I was amazed myself. She was amazed as well, but I was amazed. Her bleeding was gone back to normal. And then I think she was going back to college, or stress became, she slipped. And then she kind of was going off the track as well. And then some of her symptoms start coming back, but not as the same intensity as it was before. So it was like sometimes it take time to go into kind of a recovery mode, and you think, oh, I'm fine now. And then you start bringing the bad food back again, and then you can slip easily. That's where you need to stay motivated and maybe contact back your practitioner and try to get back on the track. It's not always very simple, and it's not always very easy. It depends on the imbalance.
I think sometimes what happens is when you had one good experience, when you start changing your lifestyle, and then you feel the effect of it, and you feel so much better. And then, yes, it can happen that you maybe slip again, but you know then what it feels like.
Exactly.
You know then, and that makes it, that's the motivation then that you need, and that makes it much easier to get on the wagon again. And then you have your practitioner as well, because the practitioner is just so much more also than a doctor. When you go to a GP in Ireland, and there's great GPs in Ireland, but you go generally no longer than 5 or 10 minutes and you're out again. But with an Ayurvedic practitioner, you might sit there for an hour or more and are listening to, and it's more, it really is like a coaching practice almost as well.
It is, you're right. Yeah.
Counseling practice, because like you say, it's recognized that it's not just a physical issue, it's an emotional issue, it's a mental issue, a spiritual, all of these aspects are involved. And that's the important part about it, because I think if it
and spiritual doesn't mean that you have to become like a regular meditative person. Spiritual might be just a mindful walk in the nature. That's still spiritual. Like people sometimes say, oh, I don't want to learn any meditation. That's okay. You don't have to. It's a different phase of life where we are. So even like a mindful walk in the nature, just slowing down a bit, that's all spiritual. Mindful eating, that's all spiritual. Even cooking is spiritual experience.
And most of all, I think for me, spiritual practices all have to do with connecting to your soul. and
Yeah.
your authentic being, whatever way you want to express authentically, that there is some kind of an outlet to do that, and that can happen through a lot of different, it could be a spiritual practice, a religion even, or maybe a creative practice, or in being in nature, like you say, or anything.
Yeah, whatever suits you, whatever appeals to you. As I said, there's not one thing.
Yeah.
It's so many
That actually
different.
brings me to another question, and that's the connection between Ayurveda and yoga. As an Ayurvedic practitioner, because Ayurveda and yoga, there are sister sciences, and they're both based on the same kind of philosophies. And as an Ayurvedic practitioner, would you use yogic practices as well as recommendations for your patients?
Absolutely. Ayurveda and yoga go hands in hands. So even a lot of my patients could be yogis that they're practicing yoga from a long time, or yoga teachers as well. And they get the knowledge, and they also give the knowledge to their students. Because when they, like as a yoga teacher yourself, you probably see people come with a lot of anxiety or stiffness or different issues where you need Ayurveda to help them to recognize their diet, and they might need some herbs, or they might need some lifestyle advice. But movement is also one part. So diet, lifestyle, exercises, these are like a tripod of your health. So movement, exercise is very important. And again, Ayurveda, looking into your body type, there's a different type of exercises. If you're already very tired, you want more restorative kind of exercises rather than killing yourself on a jog or a swimming or gym or anything like that. And yoga is a very gentle, and then there are different styles of yoga. So again, you need to look what style suits me and all that. So I highly recommend yoga, especially the breathing exercises aspect of yoga works wonderful for my patients, because the stress is a big part. Anxiety is a big part, and breathing exercises help a lot to manage the nervous system, to help with the sleep, to calm down your adrenals, to restore your digestive health, bring more oxygen to your brain. So it's just when I give them lifestyle recommendations, breathing exercises are part of their daily routine anyway.
Much instant as well. Sometimes
Yes.
When you need it acutely, even you can do
Exactly. Yeah, I tell you on that one, I had a child who was diagnosed on the autism spectrum, and mom was really struggling. And I just asked mom, can you do a little bit of self massage and ask him to do some breathing exercises? And then he's doing that. He will benefit from it. Just a simple kind of a practice from yoga.
I used to use these breathing exercises when I used to teach children's yoga. And I was by myself with 16 children, and they came, straight after school. They were full of energy and, running around. And then when we started the lesson, we would always start with Nadi Shodhan, or with, kind of
alternate nostril breathing. Yeah.
And when there were 16 children, so each of them, one round for each of them. So there was 16 rounds, and I had the breathing ball, this Hoberman sphere that you can pull out. So they had a visual. And after these 16 rounds, the energy in the room, it was amazing. The change, and it was instantly, they were so calm and so concentrated and focused and ready. I personally recommend that to parents, like you said, as well, often.
Yes.
Because it just is instant, even for your stress or feeling of insomnia or whatever it is. It's and it's funny because it's so effective, and yet in the West it's not really used much. It's lately, maybe there's more and more breathing techniques coming up, different classes, stress management classes. But I think it could be definitely get a higher place up in the.
I think it will. Yeah, I think it will. There are a lot of different techniques are coming up, but I like the simple techniques and kind of not too much detail and just effortless, like a practice of, like you say, alternate nostril breathing, just closing your eyes and just breathing through your nostril and connecting with the breath, creating that space for yourself. That's all. Simple and effortless.
Exactly. That's it. One more question I have, and that is that because Ayurveda, just like yoga as well, in yoga, I know that there is a lot of myths and misunderstandings from people that are not too familiar with the background. Yeah. In yoga, for example, we go to a yoga class and it's usually an asana class, and we don't really hear the background or the philosophy about it. And so we don't really understand sometimes what actually really is it. And so a lot of misunderstandings and myths evolve then about it. And I'm sure it's the same with Ayurveda as well. Is there anything that you know, or are there some myths that you could dispel for us right now?
It's just like, as I said, actually, there is more and more awareness becoming around Ayurveda and yoga. And it's thanks to yoga as well, because yoga is kind of getting more and more popular and people finding the benefit from yoga, and they are hearing about Ayurveda. So the myth that I come across, people find, you have to be a vegan or you have to be a vegetarian to follow Ayurveda. You have to give up eating meat, or you have to give up drinking, smoking, because Ayurveda lifestyle recommendation could be a little bit strict. For example, Ayurveda is big into the nature cycle. When Ayurveda say the sun is high in the sky, your digestion work better, so you eat your main meal in the middle of the day, which we struggle. A lot of us, we struggle nowadays, and we are going to bed maybe midnight, and Ayurveda say you go to bed by 10. And that's also another difficulty where people say, I go to bed by 2 o'clock or 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. and I have a social life, or this is when children go to bed and I catch up with my wife over a glass of wine or TV. So they say, no, I cannot follow it. So then you just say to them, you have to kind of get rid of the resistance. Don't say I can't. You can meet halfway. Say, all right, so you don't have to go to bed every night, midnight. If you go to bed a little bit early, you get up early, then you have more space in your hands in the morning as well to do some practices. If the recommendations are given for meditation or any other like self-massage or yoga, you can do at that time. And your body will be thankful to it. And actually, that's the motivation come from. So you will not know until you try it. And then people say, wow, I used to feel groggy and dull and heavy and finding it hard to get out of the bed. And then I have to take coffee or may not be active for first half of the day. So then you tell to them, this is it. You go to bed early, you get up early, and your body will tell you your body is more lighter, your brain is more bright, you digest better, you eliminate better, and slowly you see the difference. So don't get into any myth, I can't follow it. Yeah. And then the diet, as you said yourself, people find it difficult to find the ingredients. So say, Ayurveda diet is difficult. You have to cook fresh food, or I do batch cooking, or I eat leftovers, and Ayurveda is like, you shouldn't really eat leftovers and all that. Then again, you say, okay, you meet in the habit. If you're doing batch cooking, you're still eating your home cooked food. At least you're saving yourself from eating packed food, processed food, and preservative. Mm-hmm. So then, all right, your practitioner is happy, and your practitioner will be able to modify a little bit of the things and make it relax what suits you for the moment, rather than creating more stress for you. Right. So that's where you kind of, do it slowly, do it steady, and you're changing your habits. Sugar is a big one. People say when they're stressed, they have the bar of chocolate or 2 bars of chocolates in a day. That's where you're getting the education. No, that's not healthy for me. What can I replace it with? Can I start eating more dates? Can I start having more energy balls or something like that, so that I don't need to take that much of refined sugar? Can I adapt my taste buds to start eating dark chocolate? So this is how it works. So it's not very strict, actually, because it's a very old system. So a lot of things are outdated a bit. And as a modern era practitioner, we kind of change that as according to the patient's need, and still keeping the authenticity of the practice. But sometimes we need to see the ability, how much this person can do and how we can help them. And the social life, you still have your social life. You still can go for a drink or something, but again, more responsible drinking. Again, moderate drinking. That's what you need to be more aware for yourself, like that.
That's really good that you say that now as well, because I think that's one obstacle that sometimes we put on ourselves, is when we hear these recommendations and we think then, I'm not allowed to have this anymore, or I can't have that anymore. And that's a negative statement, and that makes it already difficult. And some of us maybe even react a little bit rebellious, inside, and think, now I really want it. And, because the brain works like that, doesn't it? And so to focus on the positive, and all the beautiful things that we can actually have, like you say, dates. It's really, really beautiful recipes, making little date balls or whatever it is, whatever. Maybe to buy ourselves a good Ayurvedic cookbook or something and get inspired, or look online or something. There's wonderful recipes.
Absolutely.
And just browse them. And I think we can influence our mind very much by just, if we look at beautiful Ayurvedic recipes online, then we get hungry for them. We get inspired, and we forget about
exactly. And if you have a recipe and you don't have all the ingredients, then you can find the comparative ingredient, what you have in your Western supermarket. Let's say your recipe say use cumin, but you can't find cumin. You can use basil, you still can use oregano. You just need to kind of slowly learn the medicinal value of these herbs.
Caraway seeds, like, I'm here in Germany, I'm not in Ireland now, but caraway is a really traditional German spice that's been used for a long time. You get it everywhere. And it also is really good digestive, spice. So I'm sure there's plenty of things that you can get also in Ireland. That,
traditionally used. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. You can still work with your own recipes and just a little bit kind of adding medicinal values from herbs. And so food is not shouldn't be a big problem, really. It is something that you can work on.
Yeah. And I think it's really literally, like you said before, it's about education and awareness, because once we are aware and we are on that journey of awareness and we're educating ourselves and we get used to this more and more, then we understand the principles of Ayurveda and we can apply them to our own lifestyle and our own traditions. And, we don't have to necessarily eat only Indian food or Indian recipes, although they are lovely and beautiful. But once we understand the principles, we can apply them and, use them, for our, mashed potatoes or, whatever it is that.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, for example, instead of butter, you use ghee, which is more lighter and more beneficial for the health. And then in your mashed potato, you put a little bit of turmeric and your caraway seed. It make it lighter because it's a kind of a heavy starch. So you just learning that.
Exactly. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you very much, Rajvinder. I will write all your details in the description of the podcast, and people can then contact you for consultations. If there's any issue, any maybe a chronic illness that you want to address, or you want to know something about Ayurveda, you do courses. You offer courses as well on ayurveda.ie.
Yes. We have a free 7-lesson course. Like, if you are interested in Ayurveda, first you get to know yourself a bit more, which is you start with from your body type. What is your body type? And there's a lot of free questionnaire available. I'm sure Sandra might have a link on her website, or even if you Google it, Ayurveda body type, the questionnaire come up for you. You answer it honestly. You will know what is your body type. It gives you a little idea. And then if you're interested, from ayurveda.ie, you do the 7-lesson free course. There's no cost. It's totally free at all. A lot of people are benefiting from it. It was pure to bring the awareness around the COVID time. That's when the course was created. So I highly encourage you to do that. And then there are more courses. We're doing a diet and digestion course, which is a kind of a paid course. If you're interested, you can go for that as well. And from my team in Ireland, once a month, we come online and we do free question answer session as well. You can join that, bring your questions, and we answer it for you if it's dealt within the 40 minutes of Zoom sessions. Stuff like that. Yeah, it's as I said, Ayurveda is a big prevention model. It's based on preventing the illness and kind of correcting the imbalance through the diet, lifestyle, seasonal recommendation. As with the season, we change clothes, we change colors, we change what we eat. So our body type need a little bit kind of tweak around that as well. So it's really understanding your body type. That's where you start. And then if you want to go further, you can either have a session with Sandra, you can have a session with me. I think there are lots of practitioners available anyway.
Yeah.
And then, as Sandra said, looking into good Ayurveda cookbook as well, and then start cleaning your kitchen a bit, having a spices rack in your kitchen, and creating a nice spiritual clean environment for your kitchen as well.
And just having fun with it as well, and enjoy the kind of the journey of Ayurveda.
Yeah, exactly.
And also for anyone actually living in the area, living in Dublin, I really recommend getting a massage from Dr. Rajvinder as well, a Shirodhara treatment or something. It's just the most amazing treatment.
It's just I treat, Sandra, I do consultations like I did it for Sandra, and I felt she needed, and as I said about that other lady as well. So this is how Ayurveda do the therapies as well. The wonderful therapies available. Yeah, definitely you should try them as well. I'm sure in your area as well, a lot of people are offering.
Absolutely, yeah. That's great. So thank you very much. It was really lovely having you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great for courses, and I hope you get plenty of people contacting you.
Yeah, feel free to ask questions, and we will be happy to help.
Yeah, if anybody has questions here as well, they'll be addressed in other episodes as well, or you can contact Dr. Rajvinder directly. I'll put the links on the description for the podcast, and you can see them there.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Love and light for all.
You were listening to a podcast on radical self-love, an Ayurvedic perspective of body and mind by Sandra Hayes and the Little School of Happiness. For more information and offers, go to www.sandrahayes.eu.